Hey guys, so I typically don't like to talk about sad things, but I had a case yesterday that's been weighing really heavy on me. And this is really hard for me to do, to be vulnerable and open up, share how I'm feeling. But I feel like more people need to do this in our profession. I had a case that I think will stick with me for the rest of my life. It had such a huge impact. As emergency veterinarians, we tend to see really terrible things. Many cases that come to us don't end with good outcomes. Some do, but more end with a lot of sadness than happiness. And there's a lot of different factors that play into that, like finances, diagnoses, things that aren't isolated to just one specific thing. Humanity really plays a huge role as to what we do and how we approach a situation, a client interaction, and quality of life concern. The owner came to me in a very vulnerable state. He was a guy that most people would consider somebody that was very tough, rugged, resilient, somebody that you could tell has been through a lot. And his dog looked really rough. She was very skinny, had developed this perianal mass, was not eating, was lethargic, was producing pure discharge from her vagina, was having diarrhea, straining to urinate, a lot going on. And as I always do with every case, I present them with options and an estimate. And immediately the owner begins to cry, tells me that he has no finances. He kept pleading with me to give him hope and options to save his dog. He told me his dog was the only thing he had. You could tell this guy would do anything for his pet. I gave him different resources and payment plans. He was denied by a lot of people, other clinics, and these payment companies due to his financial status. I presented the option of rehoming the pet to a shelter. He said he would never do that his pet meant the world to him and he would rather die than give away his dog or euthanize his dog. And he just kept breaking down. I could tell how much he loved his dog. I called around and I found another option, which was having the owner report himself to animal welfare. He kept crying and pleading to me that he didn't want to get his dog taken away. I explained to him that I would talk to the officers and I would tell them that I knew that he was going through a hard time and that he deserved to have his dog back. I had to really build a lot of trust with this individual until I got him to accept. They came and had the owner sign over ownership of the pets to be hospitalized so we could do basic diagnostic tests to find out what's really going on. That gave the owner so much hope. And at this point, so many people were invested in helping this individual. I know how strong the human-animal bond is, and I could see it. And I know that if I was in this person's position, that I would want somebody to help me and give me hope. He told me that she's gone through so many traumatic situations with him, and animals, all they do is provide unconditional love. The blood work was surprisingly not that bad. That gave me more hope. There was inflammation and infection as expected. The dog was anemic. And then I do the x-rays. I confirmed a perineal hernia. Bowel of the small intestine was entrapped, had developed a megacolon. The majority of the abdomen contained a fluid-filled tubular structure, likely a pyometra. Those findings are concerning. Then I did 3 view chest x-rays and it revealed multiple pulmonary masses all throughout her lungs. It honestly broke my heart. I realized that this dog's prognosis is grave, very poor. I couldn't imagine putting him in that amount of debt with a high-risk patient. I called the officer back. I explained everything, recommended a humane euthanasia. The officer spoke to the owner. The owner was in distress. He immediately showed up in the hospital. At this point, the owner's bawling and asking me if there's anything I can do to save his dog. The conversation pretty much turned into me guiding him through the process of grief, guiding him to accept the reality that his dog was not well and that humane euthanasia was definitely warranted and the most compassionate thing we could do. The owner got on his knees, pleading with me and saying he didn't want to kill his dog. Performing that euthanasia was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I've never seen a human being so vulnerable in so much distress, and I just felt like I was taking the most important thing away from this guy. And although I know that I did the right thing, I almost felt guilty. I'll never forget that. I kept hugging him and telling him that he did the right thing. And I tried my best. I'm usually somebody that's pretty tough and can hold it in. This is one of the cases that reminded me how strong the human-animal bond is, and reminded me that part of what I do as a veterinarian has so much humanity behind it. A lot of these people are some of the best pet owners and would do anything for their pets. I'm sad for the owner, how heartbroken he was and how vulnerable he was with me and how devastated he was to lose his pet. His pet was the only thing he had, the only source of unconditional love. I was driving home. I kept thinking about how fortunate I was. Last night I couldn't sleep at all thinking about this guy, and I had to go back this morning to write the medical record. And writing it today brought back the experience, and I couldn't keep this to myself, and I had to really share it to feel better. By no means is this me trying to get sympathy or trying to have people feel bad for me. Maybe I could show some vulnerability back and maybe to send a message to people in my profession that it's okay to be vulnerable, that it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel heavy about some of your cases. I really hope the owner's okay, I really do. For those of you that are not in veterinary medicine, this is what we go through. I tend not to take work home, but sometimes you can't help it. It's part of being a human. Holding all of this in is not healthy. This job and this profession is not easy. Us veterinarians, we feel guilty many times because of the financial side of things. I'm sorry if this is too much. Maybe this will help somebody. Maybe it gives you guys a little bit of understanding as to what we go through when we leave work. I know I'll be okay. It was a lot. A lot to take in. Have a blessed day.